list. Post exam theory. Working capital management. The first important question is, explain operating cycle. It's a frequently asked 6-mark question. What do you mean by operating cycle? It represents time duration required for which conversion of cash into cash equivalent. Conversion of cash into cash equivalent. Thereafter, back into cash. Thereafter, back into cash is called operating cycle. It's a time duration is called operating cycle. Time duration required for which conversion of cash into cash equivalent, thereafter back into cash is called operating cycle. That operating cycle is also called cash cycle, also called business cycle, also called working capital cycle. So these are the alternative name for operating cycle. With a great difficulty, you are going to procure the cash, because what are all the points you suppose write in exam in case of explaining short notes on operating cycle. These are all the points you have to cover. Then only get the full mark. Chart also you have to write. Cash we are going to convert into raw material. Raw material we are going to convert into WIP. WIP is going to convert into finished goods. Finished goods may going to convert into what? Debtor. Debtor is going to become, we are going to realize the cash. With a great difficulty, we are going to procure the cash. Out of the cash, we are going to purchase the raw material. Raw material intention begin buying the raw material. We want to convert the raw material into finished goods. So raw material become WIP, WIP become finished goods. After it's become fully finished product, I want to sell the product. If I'm going to sell, I will get the debtor. After sold the product, from debtor, I have to collect the cash. It requires some time. The time duration is called operating cycle. I am having cash, I have to convert the cash into raw material. That time gap is called lead time. L-E-A-D, lead time. I am having raw material, I want to convert the raw material into finished goods. That time gap is called process cycle, also called operating cycle. Also, a process cycle, also called production cycle. I am having finished goods. Still the customer is going to purchase the product from my end. Till I am going to sell the product, I have to hold the stock in the good condition. That's why it's called what? Stock holding period. I have sold the product, I have to collect the money from debtor. That's called average collection period. This is all easy for you. That's why segments in operating cycle are segments in operating cycle. What about the segments in operating cycle? These are all called 4 segments. One is lead time, process cycle, also called the production cycle, stock holding period, and average collection period. These are all called segments in operating cycle. So 4 segments are there. What are they? Lead time, process or production cycle, stock holding period, another one is called average collection period. These are all called segments with respect to operating cycle. Formula for the operating cycle also you have to write. Formula for operating cycle. raw material plus WIP plus finished goods plus debtor minus creditor is equal to operating cycle. Note, we have to express the operating cycle in terms of days or months. Don't be lazy. Parallelly, you have to take a notes also. Instead of listening, just listening. If you're going to take a notes, you'll have the better clarity. One more revision also will get over. So formula for operating cycle, raw material plus WIP plus finished goods plus debtor minus creditor, that we have to express in terms of days or months. Number of operating cycle in a year is equal to 365 divided by operating cycle. So the answer we have to express in terms of how many cycles or how many times, either time or cycle, you can express. So this is with respect to the first question is called operating cycle past exam question. Always remember with respect to number of days, 1 year is equal to 365 days only. Many occasion in question they may give 360 days. If the question is specifically given 360 days, you have to take that formula, that particular quantity only. In numerator, you have to take 360. Else, you have to take 365 only. Question is silent mean you have to take 360. Now, second question. The first question very easy, operating cycle. Second question, concept based theory question. I would like to discuss the concept based theory question also, based on MTP or TP questions. Concept based theory. Now, in concept based theory, how they will give first column time gap. This is what given. 2 column table will be there and segment. Identify the following segment. That is what the question. We have to identify the segment. Raw material to finished goods. It's the first question. Second one, cash become raw material. Third one, debtors become cash. Last one, finished goods become debtors. In exam, question mark will be there. Each one carries 1 mark, 4 mark question. We have to identify the segment. Further, you should be strong in the theory, then only can understand the question itself. The questions will say what? Identify the segments in working capital cycle. That is what the question. Following segment you have to identify. 2 column table will be there, the exam question. And the first column time gap will be there. And the second column question mark will be there. Now, in this juncture, how to answer? Raw material we are converting into finished goods. Conversion of raw material into finished goods is called production cycle or process cycle. The answer for the first one is production or process cycle. The answer is correct mean you will get the 1 mark. Cash converted into raw material. That time gap is called what? Lead time. Conversion of cash into raw material is called lead time. It's correct mean 1 mark. Debtor, we have collected the cash from debtor. That time gap is called
average collection
period. It carries 1 mark. We are having finished goods. We have to sell the product, then only we'll get the debtor. That time gap is called stock holding period. So each one carries 1 mark, 4 mark question. Simple question or not? So further, you should be strong in the theory part, then only you can understand the question itself. Now, third question. How to estimate working capital requirement? It's a past exam question, 4 mark question. How to estimate working capital requirement? Estimation of working capital. Even in exam also, chart-wise presentations are acceptable. With respect to estimation, method 1 and method 2. 2 methods are there. Under method 1, 2 different approaches are there. One is by way of operating cycle, we can estimate the working capital. By way of estimation of each and every component of current asset and current liability. By way of estimation of each and every component of current asset and current liability. Under method 2, two different ways are there: total approach and cash cost approach. So if you are going to write all the 4 points, you'll get the 4 mark. Believe it or not, in examination, 40% of the students commit the mistake. The moment they come across estimation of working capital, they wrote only total approach and cash cost approach only. They are not written the method 1. All the 4 types you have to write, then only get the full mark.
No, sir.
Next important question. So third question is very easy. It's purely based on practical question. Fourth question. Again, concept-based theory question based on your MTP. Find rates of rates for valuation. We have to compute valuation rate. They are given component column. Approach they are given, and valuation. Valuation, the thing, but valuation rule. First one, raw material approach, total approach, question mark. Each one carries 1 mark. Then WIP they give under cash cost approach, question mark. Third one, finished goods, total approach, question mark. Fourth one, creditors, again total approach, question mark. Fifth one, debtors, cash cost approach, question mark. So each one carries 1 mark, 5 mark question. So what could be the answer? Same format you have to write. Instead of question mark, you have to write the answer. Raw material and the total approach, valuation rule based on purchase price, 1 mark. WAP under cash cost approach, valuation, raw material plus, 50% of raw material plus 50% of direct labor plus direct expenses, if any, plus production overhead minus depreciation. It carries 1 mark. Valuation rule you have to write. Finished goods under total approach, then cost of production, 1 mark. Creditors under total approach, purchase price, 1 mark. They are not asking debtor, creditor. Thereafter they ask creditor. Debtor, thereafter they ask debtor. Debtor under cash cost approach, sales minus profit minus depreciation. So that 1 mark. Each one carries what? 1 point carries 1 mark. 5 mark question. Simple question only. So this type of questions are called concept-based theory question. Instead of asking the theory as it is, they will convert into concept. Each one they carries 1 mark. 1 mark question based they will segment. So if you are strong in theory part, you can address better. Many students are getting surprised after seeing the question paper only what type of question they are asking. So in classroom itself, you have to be in the practice with respect to learn the question paper pattern also. Next post exam question. Factors to be taken into consideration. What are all the factors to be taken into consideration while determining required amount of or requirement of working capital? Discuss. The sense of what? Before you are going to find the working capital requirement, what are all the other factors you have to consider? That is what the requirement of the question. Just like that, we can't portion to fix the working capital requirement. While solving the problem, I told your auditor, chartered accountant, client is coming and asking you how much the fund I need for the purpose of working capital. First, you should be in the position to have the knowledge of the business. Thereafter, only what and all will comes under the current asset, and what and all will comes under the current liability. Current asset minus current liability, nothing but estimated current asset minus estimated current liability is equal to required amount of working capital. Here, what are all the other factors to be considered before you are going to fix the working capital? First one, production policy. Company's production policy we have to identify. Whether single shift or double shift, accordingly, requirement of working capital are going to get increase or decrease. Production policy. Nature of the business, because we should know the knowledge of the business is important. For that, you should know nature of the business. Whether they are allowing credit policy or not. We have come across problems. Credit policy, 60 days, 40 days credit policy. So what about the credit policy they are going to follow? Accordingly, required amount of working capital going to vary. Next, inventory policy. Credit policy. Inventory policy. Abnormal factors. Market conditions they have to verify. Next, condition with respect to suppliers. Availability of the supplier. What are the terms and conditions they are ready to follow? Because we need raw material. Suppliers terms and conditions we have to verify. Business cycle. Growth of the company. Whether having this plan to expand the business, growth and the expansion of the business, accordingly required amount of working capital going to change. Government tax matters they have to identify and consider. Dividend policy of the company will affect the working capital. Pricing decision, how the pricing is going to affect pricing decisions of the company, or market price, how it's going to change. Then, operational efficiency of the company, how effectively they are doing the operations. Receivables pattern, how they are collecting the money, receivables pattern. How they are equipped with the technology, with the use of technology, without use of technology, with the use of machine, without use of machine. Accordingly, their production level going to get increased. Accordingly, working capital also having the some impact. And short-term financing options. Short-term financing option. These are all the factors we have to consider before we go for working capital. So factors to be considered before you are going to decide the working capital. So all the factors you have to write, then only you'll get the full mark. Next. Explain the impact of double shift in working capital. Impact of double shift. You know concept of double shift. Instead of single shift, they are going to work for double shift. What would be the impact with respect to working capital? This is also a famous question, frequently asked a question. Component. Answer for the question is component. Impact of raw material. Working capital, here raw material represents closing stock of raw material, you know. Okay. What about the quantity impact and what about the value impact? that we have to identify. With respect to raw material, for example, generally I am producing 1 lakh quantity of finished goods. To produce one product, I need 1 kg of raw material. Therefore, I need 1 lakh kgs of raw material. I'll repeat once again. Production 1 lakh quantity. To produce one product, I need 1 kg of raw material. Therefore, required amount of raw material comes to 1 lakh kg. If instead of single shift, double shift, I am going to do produce a product. Double shift, I am going for that. Then instead of 1 lakh quantity, production will get double. Production going to get double means required raw material also going to get double. So I need 2 lakh kgs of raw material instead of 1 lakh kgs of raw material. Therefore, in case of double shift, based on that, we solved some problem. Sales has been increased 100% from 1 year to another year. Sales increase means production will get increased. Production increase means raw material cost also going to get increased. Raw material consumption also going to get increased. Therefore, everything become double. All variable costs going to become double. Therefore, in case of quantity, required quantity of raw material, or here closing stock of raw material will be double. Quantity become double the normal quantity we need. And value also, if I am going to pay 1 lakh rupee, 1 rupee per kg means 2 lakh quantity I am going to purchase means it is going to become 2 lakhs rupees. Therefore, value also going to become double, but negotiation is possible. So that discount is possible. Instead of purchasing 1 lakh kg, if I need 2 lakh kgs, I can ask some considerable discount. If I'm going to ask the discount, lesser than the double normal value will come. It is not equal to 1 lakh, not going to become 2 lakhs rupees. It less than 2 lakhs will become. Therefore, overall value comparatively going to get reduced. So quantity wise, double the normal quantity, value wise, slightly reduction will be there. First component raw material over, second component WIP. With respect to WIP, here commonly committed mistake, WIP also going to become double. No. Quantity of WIP, no change in quantity of WIP. That is what? Closing stock of WIP remains same. Why closing stock of WIP is supposed to be remain same? Because shift 1 over. Assume WIP quantity, assume 20,000 kgs. Unfinished or semi-finished quantity become 20,000 kgs. Per shift 20,000 kgs is there. In the circumstance, double shift mean not 20,000 plus 20,000 is equal to 40,000. Because first shift WIP, that only they are going to convert into fully finished product in second shift. Therefore, WIP of the previous shift, they are converting into fully finished product. Therefore, ends with again same another 20,000 WIP only will be there. Therefore, quantity wise, no change with respect to WIP. Clear? And with respect to value wise, due to reduction in material cost, already double the normal material, discount we are going to get. Therefore, value wise, it may going to get double, but double the value, but due to, it's supposed to be double, due to reduction in raw material purchase price. That raw material will be there in the, here, for WIP. So because of raw material cost has been reduced, and instead of single shift, double shift means my fixed costs remain constant. Since fixed costs are constant, same fixed cost only. Therefore, double the normal shift means double the fixed cost won't be there. Therefore, overall value of, cost of WIP will get decrease. Cost per unit of the WIP, total value of the WIP will decrease because I am paying rent for the purpose of producing the product in the factory. Factory rent, assume 50,000 rupees per month. Whether I am going to produce single shift or double shift, same 50,000 only rent. Since I am using optimum utilization of fixed cost, overall cost will come down. So quantity may be double, whereas value will be slightly will get a decrease. But WAP stock, whether quantity wise, it remains same because both previous fifth quantity WAP going to become fully converted into product the next step. Therefore, we'll have more or less same quantity only. There is no change with respect to quantity of WAP. Next component, raw material over WAP over. Next one is called finished goods. With respect to finished goods, in single shift, I am going to produce 1 lakh unit mean. Double shift, I can produce 2 lakh quantity. Therefore, quantity wise, double the normal quantity we can produce. So double the normal quantity of stock will be there. But value wise, the finished goods consist of raw material cost. Therefore, value will go to decrease. Reduction in total value of finished goods because raw material cost already decrease because of the purchase price discount and what optimum utilization of fixed cost. Because of that, value of overall value also slightly good decrease. So raw material over, WAP over, finished goods over. Next, debtors. Debtors, we can't question to say double the normal debtor because subject to demand. So debtor is purely based on demand of the product. Production I can produce instead of 1 lakh quantity, I can produce 2 lakhs quantity. But all the 2 lakh quantity, whether I can be the person to sell or not, it's purely based on demand of the product. So subject to demand. Therefore, higher debtor will be there, but not necessary to become double the normal debtor. Clear? So debtor may be the same or little higher, or the same person may going to buy extra quantity also. Clear? Therefore, higher the debtor will be there. We can't say double the normal debtor. And with respect to debtors, since we have produced more production, double shift mean more production. More production happen mean we have to sell sales quantity also we have to increase more sales quantity. If you want to increase the sales quantity, we have to reduce the selling price. Then only we can achieve the sales. Therefore, total debtor value slightly going to get reduced because of the discount on sales. I am producing 1 lakh quantity. Instead of 1 lakh, I am going to produce 2 lakh quantity. If we want me to sell all the 2 lakh quantity, I may going to give some offer or discount so that more and more quantity I can sell. Therefore, overall debtor value may slightly going to reduce. It may not going to what proportionately it's not going to get increase. So raw material over, WAP over, finished goods over, debtor over. Then creditors. With respect to creditors with respect to purchase of raw material. Since raw material going to purchase double, so creditors also supposed to be double. Am I right? But even though supposed to be double, value wise what? Total value is going to decrease because of discount on purchase price. Double the normal quantity, discount will be there. And here, double mean creditor number of quantity may not be double. Same supplier may give more quantity of raw material. Therefore, we need quantity of raw material more from the same debtor also, same creditor also possible, same supplier also possible. Clear? So from the same supplier, we are going to get more and more quantum of material. Since we are getting more and more quantity, discount will reduce. Discount we may going to ask. Since we are going to ask the discount, clear, total value of the creditor will come down. Total liability may going to come down because of the discount. So these are all the impact on double shift. So impact on double shift based on the practical problems also there. So impact on double shift, it's a easy one, interesting one also. Next one, I think question number 7. concept based theory question from your RTP. Item, they are given find the following. Item, quantity and rate / value. Now they are given raw material, WIP, finished goods, debtor, creditors. Find impact due to double shift in working capital. This is a heading. So each one carries 1 mark, 1 mark, 1 mark. First exam question or RTP question. With respect to quantity, in case of double shift, quantity will double. Rate will decrease. Total value of raw material going to get increased, but rate due to discount or negotiation will get decreased. For that, we'll allot 1 mark. WIP, same, no change. You got right? No change. WIP stock quantity remain same, but value, overall value going to get decreased because raw material component is there in WIP. Value of the WIP, it will going to get increased, but per unit cost will decrease. Per unit raw value will decrease. Finished goods may going to double the normal production possible. Value will get decreased. Debtor, double the quantum of debtor mass possible, but value wise debtor double, but because of the discount on sales discount, it is also slightly good decrease. Creditors also double means what? From single supplier you are going to buy more and more quantity. Clear? Quantity wise more, but overall value wise going to get decrease. So for this concept, they are allotting what? Each 1 mark question. So this is the manner they are asking the past exam questions. The next question, question number 8. Functions of Treasury Department. It's very frequently asked question. November 2002, May 2008, 2009, and November 2016. 4 to 5 mark segment. Put a star mark as much as you want. Functions of Treasury Department. Functions, there are 5 major functions are there in Treasury Department. First one, cash management. Currency management. Fund management. Banking. And corporate finance. Cash management, currency management, fund management, banking, and corporate finance. First one is cash management. Here, forecasting of future cash requirement. It has to identify, forecast the future cash requirement by way of cash budget. They have to prepare cash budget forecasting of future cash requirement by way of cash budget.
This put your sign board like email.
Claims
You go and put in.
by way of
You go and put in.
float management. What is
Put it
float
on.
management? Claims by way of float management. These are all the duties with respect to roles with respect to cash management model. Next, idle fund. If there is excess fund, how we have to make use of the excess fund? Idle fund management. Then centralization of collection. So these are the four major roles with respect to cash management. Forecasting of future cash requirement by way of cash management, by way of cash budget. Claims by way of float management. Idle fund, how we have to make use of the idle fund. Idle fund represent unutilized fund. How we have to make use of the unutilized fund, excess fund if any. And centralization of collection. Second function is currency management. Currency represent foreign currency risk. They should know how to manage the foreign currency risk. How to manage by way of hedging, by way of forwards and futures. Hedging, forwards and futures. Hedging, forwards and futures are you are going to study in final. It's not available for inter. Just you can remember the terminology alone. Foreign currency risk management, they have to what handle. How they can be the put to manage the foreign currency by way of hedging, forwards and futures. Then timely settling or setting off, OFF, timely settling or settling off of intra-group indebtedness. If there is due between one group to another group, there is what? One division to another division. That too, the intra-groups lies in the various countries. One group company is there in Dubai or US, and the another company is there in India. If there is a intra-group debt, any debt or due is there, then when we have to settle, timely settlement, because it involves again risk with respect to foreign currency. Exchange rate may go to vary. Therefore, settling and a set off, when we have to settle, that decision they are supposed to take properly. Next, payment in the same currency, so that company can save transaction cost. If there is a forex transaction cost involved, to avoid the same currency, INR means same INR transaction, dollar to dollar. If you are having the habit of what foreign currency transaction by way of same currency, if I am going to use mean to the extent possible, overall cost saving going to get increased. cost will be reduced. Next, currency to be used while invoicing export sales. So we have to make a decision which currency we supposed to use. So the overall benefit to the company that we have to identify. Whenever export sales comes into picture, whether INR is okay or dollar is okay, we have to make a decision. This is nothing but decision making process. So decision making with respect to which currencies should be used, that we have to identify. So first one is cash management with respect to treasury department function. Second one is currency management. Third one is fund management. With respect to fund management, fund by way of, it may be long term or medium term and short term fund. For that, decision with respect to capital structure. Decision with respect to capital structure, dividend payout. So we have to make a decision with respect to capital structure for fund and a dividend payout. How much you have to pay dividend? All those decisions Treasury Department has to consider. Then obtaining the fund. From where we can obtain the fund? By bank loan or public issues. For that also they have to make a decision. Next, fourth one, banking. With respect to banking, we should be in the position to maintain good liaison, nothing but relationship with bank or financial institutions, so that easily we can be in the position to do the banking functions. We have to go for negotiation with respect to obtaining finance from bank. So if you have the good liaison, we can go for negotiation also, so that overall cost will be come down. And last function is corporate finance. With respect to corporate finance, we have to give the proper advice. Advice with respect to buybacking advice, buyback of shares, whether you can go for buyback or not. Merger, acquisition, disinvestment. These are all the areas we have to give the advice. So I'll repeat one more time. We are in functions of Treasury Department. What are all the functions are there? 5 different functions are there. Cash management, currency management, fund management, banking, corporate finance. With respect to cash management, what and all we have to consider? We have to forecast future cash requirement by way of preparing cash budget. Upcoming period, how much the cash we need. For that, we have to project the cash flow. Claim by way of float management. Float nothing but delay. The float management, again, we are going to discuss in the next question. Idle fund, if any, or unutilized fund, if any. How to manage the idle fund, excess fund, if any. So that if I can invest in short-term deposit, I can get interest out of the same. Some return will get. Therefore, fund management, we have to be in the position to know the idle fund, the cash, how we have to manage. Then, whether we can go for centralized collection so that we can avoid some confusion. Second role is called currency management. Currency represent forex management, forex currency. How we have to avoid the risk or minimize the risk by way of hedging, forwards and the future. These all the techniques are there that we are going to learn in final only. Then timely settling of dues, that too with respect to intercorporate loans, intergroup in debt, so that one group to another group, that is one company to another company or one division to another division will be there in two different countries, so that we can be the person to verify timeliness when we have to settle the money. Accordingly, dollar rate is going to get increase or decrease, exchange rate, how it's going to get affected. For that also you have to make a decision. To that extent, possibly if I'm going to give everything the same currency, we can be the person to avoid the transaction cost. Currency may be used while preparing the invoice during the export sales. These are all the decisions we have to do at the time of currency management. Next one is called fund management. How we have to get the fund, procurement of fund. It may be long-term fund or medium-term or short-term fund. For that, whenever you are going to raise the fund or whenever you are going to give the fund, cash flow is there. We have to do the decision making with respect to capital structure decision making. Capital structure, it's a separate topic I'm going to discuss. And dividend payout, how much you have to pay dividend. Those things and all, you have to make a decision. And obtaining fund from bank loan or public issue, which one is viable? For that, we have to do cost benefit analysis. Then, if you want to get the loan from banking, the role with respect to banking, the next function is called banking. We have to maintain the good relationship with the bank and the financial institution so that we can go for better negotiation at the time of getting the loan. The last function is called corporate finance. It's a department's duty, treasury department's duty to advise properly whether we can go for buyback, merger and acquisition is okay or not, whether disinvestment is suitable or not. Those advice also we have to give properly. These are all with respect to functions of treasury department. Ninth question. This question is concept-based theory question based on treasury department's functions on treasury department. Find the functions of treasury department. The first question. Managing. You can also write parallelly, managing foreign currency risk through hedging. What type of function? Question mark. It comes under currency management. Currency management. If you are going to write the answer currency management, you will get the 1 mark in exam. So in the answer part, they'll ask the question mark, you have to write the answer. Okay. 2 column table they'll give. First column called the function. First column called the detail. And the second column called the function. In exam, function side question mark will be there. Second question. Planning future cash requirement through cash budget. That function is called, cash management. Third question. Participation in decisions with respect to capital structure and dividend payout. That function is called fund management. Fourth one, advising mergers and acquisition. That function is called corporate finance. Last one, maintaining cordial relationship with financial institution. Cordial relationship with the financial institution. That comes under banking. So 5 mark question, each one carries 1 mark. Instead of mere asking functions of treasury department, they can ask concept based theory question also. So you should be strong in the definition part also, or what the content part, then only can write the answer. Next, the next important question. 10th question. Float management. Explain float management. Important question. With respect to float management, you can remember the sequence with respect to how the transactions and all happening. First, goods sent to customer. We are sending goods to customer. First, we are transferring goods sent to customer. After transferring the goods, we are preparation of invoice, nothing but bill. After that, I am preparing invoice or bill. After preparation of bill or invoice, then I am going to send the bill, and bill has been received by the receipt of bill by our customer. Preparation and sending the bill by the company. I am transferring the goods to you. I am the seller. Thereafter, I am preparing the bill. I am transferring the bill, and thereafter you are going to receive the bill. So receipt of bill from your end. After receiving the bill, you are going to send the check. You have to make the payment by way of sending the check. As a customer, you are going to pay the money. After sending the check, I am going to receive the check. After receiving the check, I am going to deposit the check. Deposit the check in the bank. After depositing the check, I am going to realize the cash. I am going to get the cash. The last step, I am getting money. I'll repeat once again. I am transferring the goods to you. Thereafter, I am going to prepare the bill, invoice. I am going to send the bills to you. You are going to receive the bill. Based on the bill, you are going to settle the money, check. I have to receive the check. Thereafter, that check I am going to deposit in the bank. Thereafter, after depositing the funds, I am going to realize I am going to get the cash. These are all the sequence with respect to what the business transaction. Now we are entering into float management. With respect to float, float anartham, float nothing but delay. Delay is called float. The time gap delay is called float. I am transferring the goods. Thereafter, I am preparing the bill. Therefore, the delay between goods transfer and preparation of bill, the delay is called billing float. Because delay happened during the billing process, that's why the float is called delay is called billing float. Billing float. Okay, I have prepared the bill. You can get the bill now. Why there is a delay? I have to depend on post. Therefore, that is called mailing float. Mailing float. Okay, you received the bill. You are not sending the cash check immediately. Then some time gap is there. That time gap is called credit period. We have discussed about the problem in the credit period itself. Why credit period, 40 days credit period, 20 days credit period. The credit period is there means you have received the bill, but from the receipt of the bill, 40 days will be there. So you can wait, thereafter you can send the check. Therefore, the credit period, after that only you are going to send the bill, send the check. Now you have sent the check, I have to receive the check. Again, some gap is there, time gap is there. That is called again mailing flow. I have received the check. Immediately I can't put into deposit. As soon as I received the check, I have to transfer the check to my accounts department for the purpose of passing entry from whom we got the check. So that the debtor value ought to reduce. The cash release from the debtor. So for the purpose of entry, passing the entry, we have to keep the check. We have to transfer the check to department, respective department, accounts department. Thereafter only can put it in the bank. Therefore, that particular delay is called check processing float. Check processing float. We are doing processing with the check because we have to pass the entry. After processing over, accounts department people, once entries and all over, they are going to deposit the check with the bank. Banker is not going to give the money immediately. They are going to take collection period. Because of the delay will be the 1 or 2 days you have to wait. Immediately they won't give the moment I give the check, bank won't give the money. You have to wait from some period. That collection period, the delay is called bank processing float. Bank processing float. So, with respect to float management, 6 different types of floats are there. Billing float, mailing float, credit period, mailing float, check processing float, and the bank processing float. Many students, types of float, whenever they're going to write the 6 types, billing float, mailing float, credit period, mailing float, no, sir, it's a printing error, sir. Double time mailing float arises. The first mailing float is different. The third mailing float is different. The fourth one is different. Therefore, 6 types of floats are there. Billing float, mailing float, credit period, again mailing float, check processing float, and bank processing float. These are all the delay, nothing but float. 6 types of floats. Now, floats okay, sir. Delay okay, sir. But you have come across operating cycle, converting time into time duration required for which converting cash into cash equivalent, thereafter back into cash is called operating cycle. I am having cash converted into raw material become WAP, W become finished goods, finished become debtor to cash you have to collect. There we come across debtor to cash immediately. But I transferred the product, goods transferred to customer, the first step. Therefore, debtor already arises. But to realize the cash, the last step only, I'm going to get the cash. Again, some float is there. Remember, cash cycle, raw material become WAP, become finished goods, become debtor and the cash vaangrom. Within less time, it seems to be good, okay? Debtors to cash. But here, debtor happened, goods transferred to customer, immediately I can't see the cash. Again, some further delays are there. Those delays are called billing float, mailing float, credit period, mailing float, check processing float, and the bank processing floats. Okay, floats okay, sir. Delay okay, sir. To the extent possible, I have to reduce the delay. Then only I can enjoy the benefits. Otherwise, opportunity cost will come. Therefore, how to reduce the delay? Billing floats separately. You have to give the remedy for the same. Floats okay. How to do the remedy? How to reduce the same? So, how to reduce the float? Those floats, how to reduce? That is what we are going to discuss now. Billing float, how to reduce? The easy way to reduce the billing float is instant billing. What is called the instant billing? Immediate billing. Now, if you go for any supermarket, you cannot the person to come out from the market. It may be Nilgiris or Big Bazaar, clear any what departmental store. You cannot the person to come out without showing the bill. Or outside security wala will be there. Whether you paid money or not, kindly you have to produce your bill. They are checking the invoice. Therefore, nothing but what? Goods should not in the position to move from the place without attached with the bill. If the instant bill is there, mean billing float, we can be the person to reduce or we can avoid. So, remedy for the purpose of delay in billing is called instant billing, immediate billing. Everything I have to discuss separately. Mailing float is there, sir. How to reduce, sir? Mailing float. What is called mailing float? I prepared the bill, sir. Thereafter, I'm sending the bills to you. I have to depend on postal department. Therefore, it's delay. It may be courier or post. That's why it's a mailing float. Okay. Instead of depending on courier, instead of depending on post, instead of depending on speed post, now faster and economic mode of transmission we can use, like fax or email. Now WhatsApp also. Send the bill through WhatsApp, send the bill through email, send the bill through what fax, so that mailing float also will reduce. I don't wait for 1 or 2 days. Today I send the bill, whether you receive the bill or not, post not received, no worry, nothing. Whether Saturday or Sunday or public holiday, if I'm going to send the fax or email, immediately you can get. Now WhatsApp, therefore mailing float also we can be the person to reduce. Upper delay, Korea, we can be the person, sooner we can get the cash. Then next one is called the credit period. So the credit period you have to discuss in detail. With respect to credit period, how to reduce the credit periods are based on that we are going to solve the problems also. So with respect to credit period, we have come across 40 days credit period is best or 60 days credit period is best. We have did the cost benefit analysis and all we used to do in the practical questions. Now with respect to credit period, suppose I am giving 40 days credit period. I want to reduce, then only I can get the cash quickly. Instead of 40 days, tomorrow onwards I'm announcing in my company, 30 days only credit period. If I'm going to announce, backfire will come. I can reduce the credit period, but my customer transfer to next company's customer. Somebody will give 45 days credit period or 60 days credit period. Then why the customer is going to purchase from me? You are giving only 30 days, sir. Other customers or competitors are giving 45 days credit or 60 days credit. Therefore, my customer, I have to lose. Therefore, I can't the portion to alter my credit period. In the market, credit period 40 days, the similar industries are giving 40 days mean I force to give 40 days. Whether I am having adequate fund or not, I have to follow, I have to adhere. But at the same time, we are in float management. We are discussing about how to reduce the float. We have to minimize the float. Then any other techniques is that to reduce the float? Yes, we are having technique. If I am going to give, yes, 40 days credit period only. Today you can purchase. On or before 40th day you can settle the money. Therefore, whether me or competitor are giving the same market rate is 40 days only. Market period is 40 days. Therefore, I am also in par with the market. But, if you are ready to pay the cash instead of 40 days, well in advance you are going to pay means I will provide cash discount. If I'm going to introduce cash discount, assume 2% cash discount, enjoy the benefit. Then the easy way to reduce the credit period is what? Cash discount. There are two types of discounts are there. One is called a trade discount, another one is called a cash discount. Trade discount represent what? We are all familiar with the trade discount. Trade discount represent what? Suppose our Suganya madam going to purchase some dress for Mahalakshmi. Worth of the product comes to assume after bill counter, after reaching the bill counter, the total product purchase or total dress material cost comes to assume 1,900 rupees. Then before billing, the teller will give the advice, madam, if you are going to purchase worth of minimum 2,000 rupees any dress or a bill amount cross 2,000, you will get 10% discount, ma'am. Some advice they'll provide. We also come across Diwali season. If I'm going to purchase, depending upon the volume of transaction, how much the bill amount, accordingly discount rate going to increase. If I'm going to purchase less than 2,000, no discount. 2,000 to 5,000, 10% discount. Bill amount exceed 5,000, 15% discount, some slab will be there. Therefore, indirectly they are inducing the customer, better you can purchase everything from our company itself or our shop itself. I may thought of purchasing dress for me from one shop, for wife in another shop, or what other people from some other shop. Instead of that, all the family members I'm going to purchase in one shop, I can get the huge discount also. Indirectly, what they're promoting, increasing the sale. That is called trade discount. We are not discussing about trade discount here. Here we discuss about the cash discount. We are very familiar with the trade discount. That trade discount will form part of invoice itself. Bill total purchase value how much? Assume 2,000. Less eligible discount 10%. Automatically bill will reflect how much the money you paid. How much the money you have to pay. That is called a trade discount. The another discount is called the cash discount. Now we are discussing. Now we have to discuss about the cash discount only. What is called a cash discount? You have purchased the product. Assume Suganya madam purchased the raw material from me or product from me, 2,000 worth of the raw material. She has to pay the money, but 40 days is the time limit I have given. Then on or before 40th day, she has to pay. But I am giving the option, madam, 40 days period is there. But if you are going to pay within a week, I'll give 2% discount. Then customer side brain, what? The mind will change. Suganya madam will think, anyway, I have to pay 2,000 rupees on or before 40th day. I am having cash. If I'm going to pay within a week, I can get 2% discount also. Otherwise, I can't eligible to get the discount. So that she want to save 2% cash. Therefore, few customer may going to settle the money well in advance so that I can be the person to recover the cash quickly. That concept is called cash discount. And for your better understanding, with respect to cash discount, based practical questions also that is also we are going to discuss. Clear? So cash discount is a tool for the purpose of reducing the credit period. So 6 types of floats are there. Billing float, how to reduce by way of instant billing. Mailing float, we can reduce by way of faster and economic mode of transmission. Credit period, by way of cash discount, we can reduce the delay float. Next, the remaining 3 floats are there. Mailing float, check processing float, and bank processing float. The first 3 float within my hand. I can change my organization, instant billing, immediately out to bill, then only product has to go out. I can change the system. Okay, instead of sending the bill by courier or post, I can use our laptop, I can send it through mail. Cash discount, it is my control, I can be the person to offer. The first 3 float within my control. The remaining 3 float beyond my control also. Therefore, the remaining 3 floats, how to reduce? By way of concentration banking and lockbox system. By way of concentration banking and lockbox system. Clear? So how to reduce the mailing float, check processing float, and bank processing float? By way of concentration banking and by way of lockbox system. So these are all the ways are there. What is called the concentration banking, what is called lockbox system, I am going to discuss later. Okay. So how to reduce the float? Reduction float techniques are instant billing, faster and economic mode of transmission of bill, cash discount, concentration banking, and lockbox system. What are all the various types of floats are there? 6 types of floats are there. Billing float, mailing float, credit period, mailing float, check processing float, and bank processing float. The sequence, how the float arises, goods transferred to customer. Thereafter, I am going to prepare the bill. Therefore, the delay is called billing float. I have prepared the bill. I am going to transfer the bill to the customer. It's a delay purely because of the postal department. Therefore, it's called mailing float. You received the bill, but you are not ready to send the check immediately because I have given the credit period. Thereafter, you are sending the check. I have to receive the check again because of mailing float. I received the check, immediately I can't deposit. I have to give it to my accounting department to pass the entry. That's why it's called check processing flow. They have prepared all posting and all. They are going to transfer the what? They are going to deposit the cash to the bank. Immediately, banker is not going to give the cash. Banker needs some transaction time. Banker needs what? Collection time. Therefore, it's called bank processing flow. These are all various floats with respect to float management. Float management is also equally important question, past exam question, 6 mark question.